Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Violet Rain.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Violet Rain. And today I have Alicia. She was teaching me how to pronounce her name. I love that. Who is an intuitive reader. She loves to use her gifts to help people with any issues that they may be struggling with, including relationships, love, financial, career. She has learned from experience that unresolved issues from the past creep into our present lives until we make peace with the past. It can continue to create very things that are the very things that we're trying to avoid. She has always felt empathic and connected to other people's feelings. Even as a child, she knew that her brother was getting ready to end his life, but she didn't know how to accept or explain it to others. Through life experiences and creating a deeper connection with spirit, she's learned to understand the gifts of spirit and share them with others. It is her passion to lovingly guide people on a path of clarity and direction in their lives. And we've known each other for a long time, and I can tell you that she is a gift to this world, and she does love helping people. And it's that heart of hers that I always feel wherever we're at. So talk to us a little bit about, have you always been in this world, working in this world, or what led you to do what you do today?
Okay, so I was born I was an intuitive as a child. I was very, very intuitive, but it was never encouraged of me. But I think what happened is I had a lot of trauma and abuse in my childhood, and so I had to work through a lot of that stuff. I had to do a lot of forgiving of myself, and so I think probably once I was able to heal within, in terms of like you forgive, and so like the ego says you forgive and you never forget. But in the spirit says you forgive and you see it differently. So I had to do a lot of inner work for a very long time. And that's how I decided, now that I'm like, 20, 30 years later, I'm now doing readings, because I believe that all the experiences that I had, I'm able to help other people because I am healed now.
I love that, because I find that most people that work in the healing industry, whether it's reading or healing, they've had their own traumas, they've had their own challenges, their own obstacles that they've gotten through, which allows them to be very compassionate and understanding with others, because they kind of have an understanding of what that feels like or what they had to go through to heal. And I honestly believe that everyone on the planet today, whether they're an official healer or not, have come here to heal not only themselves, but their family, their generations, their ancestors. Healing is such an important part. And even as a healer, we're never done. There's always another layer. There's always something else to look at. There's always something else to kind of clear. And I truly believe that everyone that's here today, whether they do that or not, have a mission to do some healing for themselves and the people they love, no matter how much work that is for them. I believe healing is so, so important for all of us to have a joyful and abundant life, because if you're carrying that cart of baggage behind you, it is really hard to create what you want: joy, love, compassion. All of that comes from layers and layers of healing. So I love that story. So you talk about forgiveness, and I think forgiveness is one that a lot of people have a difficult time with, right? So share with us kind of what your perception on the importance of forgiveness. How do we forgive? What is that about? And how can people understand that a little bit more?
Okay. So I had the story that my mom abandoned me and neglected me, and all my life I suffered. I wouldn't let people get close to me, but then I also, probably about maybe 15 years ago, I started studying A Course in Miracles. Wow, very, very powerful, changed my life. So it is about being close to God, but it's more on the spiritual sense. So the forgiveness is, let's see, like understanding through your heart why people did what they did.
Mm-hmm.
It's not trying to figure it out. It's like, for example, my mother had 13 children. 13. I'm second to baby. She didn't always bond with me, but you know what? And that's why I struggled, is because I needed my mom. Anyways, I'm able to see it differently, because even though she didn't bond with me, something that she did that was important is she had a cross in her bedroom, and she had a picture of me next to it. So what I'm saying is, fast forward, I'm able to see it differently, in the sense that my mother was overwhelmed. She did love me the best way that she could. She just loved me differently. And by her praying for me, and also too, so forgiveness is what happens, if we don't forgive, it will affect us emotionally. It will affect our health as well. Did I answer that?
I
Okay.
love that. You know what I tell people, forgiveness is not acceptance. Think about it that way. Forgiveness is not accepting what happened as it was okay. Forgiveness is saying, I'm releasing the chains that it's holding on me so that I can heal my own emotions and move through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we don't have an understanding of where that person is. My mother had a lot of anger too, and she took it out on me. But as an adult, not a child, because a child has a hard time processing their emotions and really understanding. But as adult, when I look back, I see the struggles that she had. I see the challenges that she had. 13 children. Wow. Being able to spend time and love all them would have been very difficult, to have 13 little ones under your feet that you're trying to take care of and nurture and love. My mother really didn't have the support and love, and she did not have a happy, joyful life. And so a lot of that anger that she had, that resentment, all of those emotions, I was the oldest child. And I was the one that she took it out on. She also took it out on my brother too, was very adopted and was younger. She took it out on both of us. It was a lot of pain that she held. And as an adult, through my healing process, I really understand where she was coming from.
Yeah.
And I have a little bit of understanding of what that was like. And my forgiveness is, I don't accept what happened. I don't think it was a great way to grow up, but I have a new perspective and understanding, and I do forgive her. It doesn't mean that I accept that reality. It just means I have an understanding of how hard that may have been for her. And the one important piece that I think forgiveness brings in is you have to forgive yourself, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because when we're in those situations, I wasn't a good child. I did this wrong. I should have done this. We can tell those stories to ourselves. But what it really comes down to is I need to forgive myself, right? It may have not had anything to do with me, right?
Yes.
It may have had a lot to do with them. And I've learned that even recently. I'm doing a warriors class with lots of shadow work, and this is where you get to see your wounds and pains. And I had a student that really lashed out at me during a class. And for a year, I carried that hurt in my heart of, why do I do this? Why would somebody lash out on me? And it took me a while to understand it had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with me. I was just the object that got all the anger, all of those repressed emotions. I was where it landed because that person had some kind of trust on a soul level that it'll be okay, right? Because we take out things on people that we love and care about because we trust that they'll forgive us, or they won't hold it against us, or they'll be understanding. And we do that with our spouses, our partners, our children, all of that, because that's our safe zone to be able to do that. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with us. It has more to do with them and what's going on in their life.
So let me go back to forgiveness. A lot of things that I did too. I journaled. I did, you know what automatic writing is?
Uh-huh.
I did a lot of some automatic writing with my mother. And, you know, she was probably a little bit, she put more pressure on me, maybe because I was so strong at such a young age. And I was like, why are you putting all this on me? And like I said, I understand it. You know, she had a lot going on, and I could manage it. Anyways, what I want to say too is I also denied who I was for a long time, because I'm a lot like my mother. I'm similar to my mother. I looked like my mother when she was younger. So once I was able to forgive her, because when we forgive, so she has passed on, it also allows her to cross over as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that very strongly. And so my business name is Alicia D. Ponce. D is not actually a middle name. It's actually my mother's maiden name. And I actually created that name in honor of my mother because I love my mom.
Mm. I love that. I love that. And what we don't understand sometimes is when we heal ourselves, we heal generations back and generations forward. I really believe that cycle does help. And even if they're on the other side, that healing helps them as well. Because I think by being here in this reality, this experience, we can heal more layers here than we can there. And so the more work that we do here, I also tell students, you'll love this. If you know that your mother suffered at this time or your grandmother suffered, ask them permission and be a vessel for them and go to a healer and say, today I'm healing for my mother who was raped at the age of 15 that carried that through her whole life. I want to be here to hold that space for her to do that healing. Whether they're living or not, it is very powerful for them. And I guarantee you, if they're on the other side, they're going to show up and celebrate that you're honoring them today and helping them with their own healing. Because honestly, our parents and grandparents didn't have the tools that we have today. They had no idea where to go and get help or how to face it or what to do with it. And we have a lot of those tools today to kind of help us, which is really, really powerful. So if you know that your mother suffered, or your grandmother, or your great grandmother, or just the women in your family, or whatever that is, or the men, find a healer and go and say, I'm here today for this person, and I've come to hold that space for them and to do this healing in their honor. They will receive it as well. So I find that to be very powerful for us. You talk about emotions affect our health. Share a little bit with us and what that actually means.
So I think when I was growing up with everything that was going on, I was emancipated when I was 15 as well, my choice. I was angry, man. So I realized that anger was making me really sick, and I was keeping everybody at a distance. So, you know, even if I get a headache, I look at, if you ever read, I'm going to show you this. Have you ever read Louise Hay's book on Heal Your Body?
Love that book.
Love it. Yeah. She says, you know, if I have a headache, it's because maybe I'm putting too much pressure on myself. And then she tells a positive way of saying, you know, I am free. You know, I love life. So whatever we're upset about, or, you know, even like breast cancer, I've never had breast cancer, but I know with that, it's usually has to do with mother issues. It is hereditary too, but it's mother issues usually, because it's not always like with our mother, it's the love that we give ourselves. Do we nurture yourselves?
Do we love ourselves? Self-love is so important. And when you
Very.
ask people, what do you do for self-love? They look at you like you got 50 heads, right? Like, what are you talking about? And by teaching and really working with self-love, I think there's self-care, there's
Mhm.
self-love, there's self-nurture. And if you step back and look at those terms, you might find different definitions for self-care, from self-love to self-nurture. Because when I think of self-care, I think of having your annual dental appointments or your eye appointments or having your annual checkups. That's self-care. That's making sure that you're doing the base of everything that you need to do for yourself. Are you eating healthy? Are you getting in motion? Are you exercising? Are you getting out in nature? That's, to me, is self-care. Self-love is, when do you feel love, and what is love about to you? Love might be a bouquet of flowers. Love might be beautiful crystals around you. Love might be the beautiful clothes that you wear that are comfortable and you feel confident. And then self-nurturing, how do you nurture yourself? Well, I'm going to take a mental day, or I'm going to take 2 hours off to just nurture. A salt bath might be a nurturing thing, or I'm going to really nurture my heart and heal today. So when you look at those terms, they can be a little different if you really take a deep dive into what is self-love, what is
Mhm.
self-care, what is self-nurture, and what is that for you? Because it's going to be different for you than it is for me, right? Because we're all different. That's what makes us unique. And so when we can figure out what do I need to love myself, nurture myself, respect myself. That's a big one. We have a hard time holding a space of respect and sacredness for our divine selves. And so all of that is really a beautiful, and your emotions do impact you mentally, physically. Illness comes from a lot of our emotions that we're carrying that are deep inside of us or even on the surface, right? So how do we release our emotions in a really safe space? My husband gets so frustrated with me because I'm very much water, and I have this emotional piece about me, and he'll be like, I just wished you wouldn't react that way. And I go, I have to get it out.
It's important because otherwise you suppress it and it makes it worse.
Right. You're swallowing your words or your feelings or your emotions and you're stuffing them down. I have to get them out. Now, I don't have to get them out for 10 days, right? I don't
Right.
have to throw a tantrum, but I got to spin a little bit because I got to get that emotion out of my physical body because
Mhm.
I don't want it to be stuffed. I don't want it to stick into my body. I have to release that, whether I'm doing it verbally. I always tell people, go out and touch a tree and say, tree,
Mhm.
today, I'm so sorry, but you're going to get this. Okay, now I feel better. Thank you, tree. And then you go
Mhm.
back and do, right?
Yeah.
Safe zone to be able to say what you need to say to something that's neutral, right? And you're not hurting that person, but you're getting that emotion, that thought process out. And
Mhm.
then you can see a little bit clearer of what's really going on,
I
right?
agree. Yeah. So sometimes when I'm dealing with that, with those kind of emotions, I usually journal. I'll journal. I've been journaling since I was in third grade, and I still do it every day. And I put it on paper because if it's in my head, I just get like, ah. But then when I get it on paper, I'm able to release it and then talk to that person, or it maybe not talk to the person, just let it go.
Do you keep the journals? How many journals do you have stacked up in the corner?
I've got a whole house full of them. No, I'm just kidding. No, no. You know what I do? I keep them, but then I revisited them, and then then I'm able to let them go. I can tear them
Oh,
up and then throw them away because it's almost like I go through phases of what I'm dealing with, and then, yeah.
I love that. I love that. So, talk to me. What is ACIM, and what is that, and how can we utilize it for forgiveness or inner work?
So that's A Course in Miracles. It really changed my life. It's really about forgiveness. Like we were saying earlier, when we forgive, when we heal within ourselves, for me is and being able to see it differently, we heal generations. I'm able to, like, for example, in my family, I'm from a family of 13 older siblings. They don't get along. I see it differently. I have a better relationship with them, but I'm also not, I don't have an attachment or expectation anymore because I know myself. It has, my life has changed with my family. So Course in Miracles is about, it is about, it's having letting, so for me, it's about letting God guide me throughout the day. I'm talking more spiritual. So I say, God, I give you this problem. Give me a solution. I have to get quiet and hear the solution. And then once the solution comes, it's like, wow, where before I've always been so controlling about my life because I wanted it to be a certain way. And that came from childhood stuff. And now it's like, I'm not controlling. I just say, okay, God, every morning, what is your will for me? Who do you want me to talk to? And literally, sometimes I have to go to the grocery store and I don't want to go. I'm like, I don't want to go. And I keep hearing him say, you got to go. And I go. And what do? I meet someone who needs my help. And it's really beautiful. Love everyone you meet, not only because you never know what they're going through, you don't know, but saying hi to someone, just spread your love. But it's more heart centered, not just, I'm going to say hi to you because I want something.
I love that about you because your heart is just wide open. Whenever I see you, you can feel your genuine love for people and things around you. And I just love that about you because not everybody is able to step into that space, right? Mm-hmm. And I love that about you, that you do that so well for humanity, the world, wherever you're at. I think that's so awesome. So that is definitely a gift that you give to all of us. So thank you for that gift. I think that is so beautiful. Talk to us about some of the things that you offer for clients or some of the things that you do. If somebody's listening and they're stuck or really need some help, what are some things that you specialize in helping people move through or heal?
Okay, so I offer intuitive readings and I'm also a psychic medium. I just have finally owned that. So like when people come in, for readings, I mean, I've had people come in for readings say, I'm really stuck. I don't know what to do. And what I usually tell them is it's about bringing balance back into your life. Bring balance back into your life. What are you doing outside of your job? What are you doing outside of, your marriage is crazy. What are you doing for yourself? The self-nurturing, self-loving. Because what happens is that we give, and then we feel depleted. And so actually I'll share, I had a reading with someone just the other day, and he was talking about my job is, what do I do with my job? And it was interesting. I'm able to see the correlations. So he is like a type A personality. He wants to be successful. He always did really well. And I said, what's that with your mother? You have something unresolved with your mother. And then he's like, yes, I never forgave my mother. I said, so with your mother, you were always trying to get that self-love. So now you try to get that self-love through your career. And he's like, oh my gosh. And I mean that because a lot of times how we live our lives, it's sometimes a correlation from our childhood if we haven't made peace with it. Anyways, I said, moving forward, this is what I want you to do. And the teacher in me came out. I says, you must do some, self-care for yourself, do some quality time with your spouse, so, and it was really phenomenal. And he took it, gave him a hug and said,
yeah. Sometimes we can't see what's around us, right? And going to a reader or healer or psychic or medium allows us to have a new perspective that we never even considered or thought of. A lot of our triggers, a lot of our wounds show up in everything that we do until we heal them and really understand them. And sometimes we work on them and they still show up, but you're like, oh, I know where you're coming from. I know what this is. I know what this wound is about. I know what this is about. Thank you for showing up for me today. Thank you for helping me to work on it, to do better, because it's all about choices and how we react to things, right?
But I also felt, okay.
Go ahead.
I also feel that for me, a long time, I had stored a lot of my anger and depression all the way down. And then little by little, I was saying, God, I want this to come up. It was slowly coming up. And it would come up, and then I would give it over to God, and then the right therapist would come, and then I would deal with it. But what I'm saying is, I always feel like, even in my readings, if I get triggered by something, wow, what a beautiful gift. It's an opportunity for me to heal that layer that I had not healed from. I can take a step back, journal, and then boom, it's gone. So a lot of times, whatever we don't deal with, it stays dormant in our body. I believe that.
I think so too. I think so too. And how we deal with it is in a lot of different ways. Like you love journaling. I think that's great. Creativity and art can really help us move through stuff. So just painting that emotion on a canvas or bringing that out so that we can really connect with it and transmute that energy. There are lots of ways. A lot of your movement classes like yoga and Tai Chi help us move it through our body in a physical way so that we can move that. Meditation can help, prayer can help. There's lots of things. People that are really good at tapping can tap and move that out of our body. We can have healings. I mean, it's unlimited. I think the key here is what are you interested in doing and what works for you? Because there's lots of ways to do this, but what do you find to be powerful and helpful in being able to do that and work through that? I love to do reflection, but I don't do a lot of journaling, but I sit in that energy and really step back and look at what's going on. So everybody does it differently. And I think my teachings help me process a lot because I'm teaching about it. It's also a reminder for me, hey, what are you doing? What work are you doing? So all of us are different. Just find what works for you and really try that. Because there's lots of beautiful people out there that want to help and support you.
I agree with it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here today and chatting with me.
You're welcome.
And we'll have her website and contact information where you can contact her, reach out if you'd love to work with her. If there are things, especially forgiveness, that you want to work on, awesome practitioner to go work with. She has a big heart, so you will not go wrong there. So getting a reading or just processing through stuff, she can definitely help. Thanks so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
Like, comment, and follow us on your favorite channels. Wherever you're listening or watching, please comment and like. That helps the algorithm on the back end. I hope you have a sacred and magical day. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Violet, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. You can also send a personal message to Violet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. If you love the show, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.